Chancellor Drell, Vice Chancellors, faculty, staff, students, my fellow veterans, welcome to our celebration of Veterans Day. I say celebration because it is a day we honor the men and women who have worn the uniform, both in war and in peace, and we appreciate that you who have not worn the uniform are sharing our day with us. It makes us very happy. We have been fortunate in the past few years because Dr. Linda Holzer, the coordinator of classical piano studies, has volunteered to provide the music for our ceremony. So today she will be joined by UA Little Rock student Stephanie Jimenez playing the snare drum. Please rise for the playing of the national anthem. It is my honor and privilege to announce and introduce to you the Chancellor of the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, Dr. Christy Drell.
Thank you, Kathy. Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you to honor our veterans for all that they do for us. And I promise to keep my comments brief this morning because in a little bit we're going to hear from the real main event of this day, our veterans, and I don't want to take up any of their time to speak with you today. So as most of you know, Veterans Day began as Armistice Day at the conclusion of World War I in 1918. Armistice Day was meant to honor only the veterans who served in that conflict because Americans believed at the time that it would be the war to end all wars, and there would be no new veterans. After two more wars, World War II and the Korean War, it became clear that there wasn't going to be a war to end all wars, and that we needed to honor all of the men and women who have continued to fight for us in conflicts large and small around the world. We needed a day that would recognize that we will always have veterans and that veterans will always be the ones who have made the biggest sacrifices. And so in 1954, Armistice Day became Veterans Day, a day when Americans gather together across the nation to thank our veterans for their service. It is important for our veterans to have a special day of recognition, but I invite all of us to consider the importance of honoring our veterans year-round. What can we do to show our gratitude each and every day? For the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, that way is to commit to being a military-friendly campus and to encourage veterans and active military to further their education with us as they translate their experience and their ambitions into the next chapter of their lives. We have made that commitment to our military students. We will help you, we will support you, and we will celebrate your success. We believe in you and your potential, and most heartily, we continue to be grateful every day for the sacrifices you have made so that all Americans may have the opportunity to reach their potential. Thank you, and thanks to the staff of the Military Student Success Center for organizing this celebration and for all that you do for our military students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chancellor Drayle. Those are the best two words combined, her name with the title Chancellor. Again, welcome. This is a day of celebration. Every year I try to kind of turn it into a history lesson. Fortunately, Chancellor Drayle already covered that for me. But sometimes there's confusion between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. There's two big ways to figure out which one's which. Memorial Day will fall on the fourth Monday of May, so it can be a different day. It can be a different day every year. And every 4 years, it'll probably be the same day. But the month and the reverence that is behind the Memorial Day is different. It's a day to remember those who have died in the service of our country. It is very somber. It is very reverent. But we say Happy Veterans Day because Veterans Day is different with both purpose and with date. As Chancellor Drayle said, it is, by 1954 Veterans Day, it's on November 11th, every single year. In fact, even before that, it was on November 11th when it was Armistice Day. Now, federal employees get to take that not in December as we do here at UA Little Rock, but federal employees actually, they're off today. That may be why you didn't see as much traffic as usually comes in. So, since World War I was not the war to end all wars, we have continued to serve and defend our freedom in the United States of America. Today, there's going to be a lot of speeches given. We're going to have a lot of folks who have served, and they sit and they talk about their service, and people thank veterans. All the celebrations happens year after year. But all of us who served start our service the very same way. When we enlist, we gather in a place called the MEPS, and we are herded into a room for however many people are enlisting on that day, and we state the following. I state your name, and every single time there's someone who will say, state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. That is something that those of us who have wore the uniform take very seriously. And no matter what politician is in the White House, what decisions are made, we can't question that. We salute sharply, and we press on, and we do our job. We do our service. Those of us who re-enlist get to say that every time we re-enlist. So some of us are really gluttons for punishment. So it is on this 11th day of the 11th month, almost the 11th hour, that we come together to show appreciation to all who have raised their right hand and served this great country of ours. Please, if you're a veteran, stand so that we can recognize you. Thank you for your service. For those of you who are not veterans, there were a few people seated here. Thank you, because it means a lot to we who have served for you to take your time on a very rainy, nasty day to traipse all across the campus to be here with us today. If you attend various Veterans Day celebrations, you'll typically see retired generals or colonels, maybe a Medal of Honor recipient, maybe a Purple Heart recipient, or people who are considered in the military very important people. Today we're going to hear from some extremely important people, our UA Little Rock military students. First, Casey Greenwood, Master Sergeant, United States Air Force Reserves, doctoral student, and UA Little Rock staff member. Casey.
Thank you all for attending today, and thank you for the opportunity for me to share my experiences as a reservist and a veteran student. I served active duty in the Air Force for 10 years as a crew chief, which basically is an airplane mechanic. That means I was responsible for keeping airplanes running and all that is involved with it. I worked on 3 different airframes during my time: KC-135s, C-17s, and the C-130s. And I also had the pleasure of teaching the new crew chiefs coming into the Air Force. I joined the Air Force not because of anything more than it sounded like a good idea at the time. I knew that the Air Force would bring the opportunity to see the world while allowing me to work towards an education. So why not? One thing that people may not be aware of is most of our military students are not from here. We end up here for a variety of reasons. I'm from Montana, yet here I am. A few months after I graduated high school, in May of 2007, I was on a plane to San Antonio, Texas. I have been stationed across the United States. My first duty station was in Washington State, then I was stationed in South Carolina, and finally I found myself here in Arkansas. Even though that is only 3 places, I deployed numerous times and have traveled to many places. I was able to hang out with live tigers in Thailand. I worked at orphanages in Kyrgyzstan, and I even had the opportunity to make an entry in my hometown's air show on a Little Rock Air Force Base C-130. When asked to share the most memorable moment in my career with all of you today, I could not think of just one. The most memorable thing from my service was the bonds created with my fellow airmen. Although my family is in Montana, I have family all around the world that I gained through my time serving. I was able to complete my bachelor's degree and most of my master's degree while serving. After no longer enjoying what I did, I left active duty Air Force in 2018. I then joined the Air Force Reserves as an education and training manager. One thing was sure is I enjoyed higher education and the idea of lifelong learning. I enjoyed it so much, I decided this is my new career. Fast forward a bit, and here I am. I'm a doctoral student here at the University of Arkansas, Little Rock. I have to say that my experiences here has been nothing short of amazing. I also get to support our military students as part of my job as Assistant Director of the Military Student Success Center. I will close with 3 things. 1, when any of us has the opportunity to thank a veteran for their service, please do. 2, to my fellow veterans, November 11th is your day. Enjoy it. Go get your free meals. Just remember, those free meals are not a right. They are a gift given to us by a grateful nation. And last but not least, to everyone here today, don't allow who you were and where you're from define you. Define yourself by who you are today and what you are doing for your future tomorrow. Next, I would like to hand it over to Alexis Harris, a U.S. Navy veteran.
Good morning, Chancellor Drell and guests. My name is Alexis Harris, and I served in the United States Navy from 2013 to 2019. As an intelligence specialist in the United States Southern Command in Miami, Florida, I supported operations in South America and assisted in providing intelligence in regard to humanitarian operations. As an intelligence analyst stationed on board the USS Ronald Reagan in Yokosuka, Japan, I supported the mission readiness of the 7th Fleet Operating Area, provided imagery support to my direct chain of command and the commanding officer of my ship. As a biology major and a first-year freshman here at UA Little Rock, I'm doing my best. In the 7 months it has been since I have left active duty, I've had time to question what my service meant to me and how I felt that it has shaped me. The Navy has showed me the areas of myself that are strong, things that will take me far, but it has also exposed certain areas of myself that can be improved. I'm grateful for the things that the Navy taught me and for the person that I have become, no matter how challenging that growing process was for me during the time. I spent my young adulthood in the service, enlisting at 19 and serving for 6 years. The time that I spent The time that I spent formed me into someone that to this day I'm very proud of. I grew up not too far from here in Sherwood, Arkansas, and I graduated from Sylvan Hills High School in 2011. My mother is the first and only person in my family to graduate from a four-year institution, and I have dreamed of one day obtaining my degree here at UA Little Rock, her alma mater. I've waited so long to be able to come here and to begin the process of my education, and I am so, so grateful for the opportunities that I have been given. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you all today. I will now turn it over to Sean Lewis, Vice President of the Students Affected by the Military and a Marine Corps veteran.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank you for being here, but more than that, I'd like to thank you for bearing with me for the next couple minutes because I am not a public speaker at all. My name is Sean Lewis. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I only did my 4 years in the Marines, but I was actually trained as a cyber network operator, so I was the Marine Corps computer guy. I was kind of the geek squad, but didn't do that too much because whenever I deployed, I was actually on a machine gun. I got away from computers. I'm not much for technology. I joined the Marines mostly just because my mom told me not to. Both my parents, they had their masters and were working on their doctorates, and they said I had to go to college, and I said, you know what, the Marine Corps actually sounds like fun, so I'm gonna do that. So I'm a little late, Mom, but hey, I'm in college now, so. Actually graduated high school at 16, and I sat around and got a job and waited for my 18th birthday just so I could join. So right after my 18th birthday, I was on a bus to Parris Island, South Carolina, and yeah, kind of went from there. I only had one duty station while I was in the U.S. I was out at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, but I deployed multiple times through that, and you know, took me to some crazy places. I did training in the Sierra Nevadas out in California, combat in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, all the way to working with school kids in Okinawa, Japan. And you know, with that being said, it's, you know, I have so many stories, but it's kind of hard to pick one, especially because in the Marine Corps, you know, we're not really known for being socially acceptable. So most of my stories are better left not here. So I did attempt to work on some college while I was in the Marines, actually, but just never managed to get the time. So after I got out, I thought about college then, but ended up pursuing some other careers, law enforcement and private military contracting. But eventually I realized I did need to go to school, and so, you know, here I am a couple years late, but finally made it. I'm a first-year biology student. Still not quite sure what I'm doing, but I'm getting it. I'll eventually get there. And, you know, like I said, I'm not a public speaker, so this is probably not the best right now, but thank you for bearing with me. But I'm going to go on now and hand it over to Miss Neva Martin, U.S. Army spouse. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am a proud Army wife of 30 years. I met my husband. He was already in the military, and he loved it. He is now a disabled veteran, and we traveled all over the world. I thought that was the greatest thing when I found out he was in the military. I said, we'll get to see the world, and we'll get to do this and that. But it wasn't as easy as I thought. There's days and nights that I did not have my husband because he was serving and fighting for this country. He did a lot of tours, and he was deployed a lot of times. And even as a veteran spouse, I didn't wear the uniform, but I did wear the uniform. Because as a parent and you have children, matter of fact, our third child was born while he was deployed in Iraq. He came back. I tell people my husband left as a wonderful man, outgoing, outspoken, and very enjoyable. When he returned home from his last duty tour, he was not the same man that I married. He's gone through a lot. And he's a very wonderful man still today, but he's also a disabled veteran who suffers with PTSD chronic. I tell people every day, you cannot write my story on a piece of paper. I have to live this story. He also has a service animal named Bella who has given us our life back. It took us 10 to 15 years to get to the place that we're at today, in and out of the hospital, in and out of treatment. And I encourage you as veterans and spouses to seek help. It has not been easy, but it has been doable. He's a wonderful husband now, and a great father and a great grandfather to his grandchildren. But without seeking help, we would not have those things today. Of course, he's not here. He has also chosen to pick up something to keep him busy as a disabled veteran. So he's going to be doing some things, and I'll talk about it later at another time. But at this point, I just want to encourage you all to understand being a veteran spouse is a wonderful job, but also a stressful job. He served in this Army and he loved it. He served 18 years as he was Special Forces, so we do not know a lot about everything that he done, but he did his job well. He had planned to retire before he was injured and blown off a tank, and I received a phone call one day, wasn't sure what it was all about. All I knew was that I had to show up at a place called, it's no longer the Officials Armory, to get the news that my husband may have not been a casualty. They wasn't sure at that time. So to understand that I was a parent with 4 small children, not knowing what the results was going to be, Red Cross came to take me to a place to talk to him. I was flown to South Carolina to go see him. He had been blown off a tank and his back was injured. He did not walk for a while. Went through a lot of physical therapy, mental therapies, and different things of that nature. But I do say today, even though he's not here with me, he's out working, doing a small job to keep him busy, I'm grateful that he's still here. And I say to you guys, I encourage you, veterans and veterans' spouses, stick together. And one thing that I can tell you, we rely on our faith that has brought us to this place. I say to you, seek help. There's help out there for you and your family. And I want to thank you guys again for serving this great country. Thank you.
All I can say is wow. If you aren't impressed with our military students, then you've maybe been asleep, because these 4 are awesome. So thank you, Casey, Alexis, Sean, Neva. I really appreciate it. One thing I don't know if you are aware of, but Dr. Drayle is really serious about supporting UA Little Rock, and she's actually thinking of taking up a second career as a C-130 pilot. She was able to do an incentive ride, and she was so impressed, I think that she's just going to join up in the reserves and fly C-130s. All right, seriously though, when we look at our military students are a reflection of our UA Little Rock student population. You hear their stories, you see what they go through. They bring with them to the classroom a wealth of knowledge and experiences that can really benefit each and every class. One thing that you may not be aware of is we lose approximately 22 veterans a day to suicide. And that number is actually without Florida, California, or Texas being reported. Those simply are the largest states that we have, and maybe it would be even more of an embarrassment that 22 people who have served their country lose their battle. They're deployed to a war zone, but when we come back, sometimes we have battles inside us, and we really don't return home, or we don't return home the same as we did. So now I'm going to, so that we can recognize the folks that we have lost, I'm going to turn it over to Casey.
I'd like to take a moment of silence for those who have lost their battle. Please rise for the playing of taps.
This concludes today's ceremony. Thank you.